He said he was done. The whole football world believed him. But less than 2 months after Lionel Messi announced his international retirement in tears, he was back in an Argentina shirt, walking into what would become the strangest, most turbulent chapter of his entire career. A criminal conviction, 2 more tournament heartbreaks, and an ending in Barcelona that nobody, including Messi himself, ever imagined would actually happen. This is part 4. The retirement lasted 63 days. Public pressure in Argentina was immediate and enormous. Fans, former players, even the country's president reportedly appealed to Messi directly to reconsider. In August 2016, Messi confirmed what many had quietly hoped: he was coming back. He later admitted the reaction from ordinary fans, not just officials, was what actually changed his mind. He realized walking away wasn't really his decision to make alone. It was a rare moment of Messi choosing to fight through disappointment rather than let it be the final word. It wouldn't be the last time this chapter of his life would ask that of him. While all of this played out on the pitch, a very different battle had been building for years, off it. In 2013, Messi and his father were formally charged with tax fraud, accused of using shell companies in Belize and Uruguay to hide roughly 4.1 million euros in income from image rights between 2007 and 2009. Messi maintained he'd simply trusted his father and advisors to manage his finances and wasn't personally aware of the scheme. In July 2016, just weeks after the Copa América heartbreak, a Spanish court found both Messi and his father guilty on 3 counts of tax fraud. Messi was sentenced to 21 months in prison, later reduced on appeal to a fine of roughly 252,000 euros with no jail time, as is standard in Spain for first-time offences under 2 years. He'd also already paid over 5 million euros in back taxes and penalties before the trial even began. It's easy to forget, watching the trophies and highlight reels, that this all happened in almost the exact same stretch of months as his international retirement and comeback. Off the pitch, this was arguably the messiest period of his entire adult life, and he was still somehow performing at the peak of his sport through all of it. 2 years later, Messi arrived at the 2018 World Cup in Russia, carrying enormous weight, 31 years old, 1 World Cup final loss already behind him, and a national team that had looked shaky throughout qualifying. Argentina stumbled through the group stage, barely scraping into the knockout rounds. In the round of 16, they faced France and a breakout teenage forward the world was just getting to know, Kylian Mbappé. The match became an instant classic, end-to-end and chaotic. Messi's Argentina lost 4-3. It was, by Messi's own later admission, one of the most painful exits of his career. Not because of the scoreline alone, but because it reinforced a growing narrative that had followed him for over a decade. Brilliant every week for his club, somehow star-crossed in an Argentina shirt. A year later, at the 2019 Copa América in Brazil, the frustration boiled over in public for the first time. Argentina lost in the semi-final to the host nation, Brazil. In the third-place match that followed, Messi was sent off with a red card, a rare disciplinary moment in his career. Afterward, in a press conference, a visibly frustrated Messi didn't hold back. criticizing the tournament's officiating and suggesting corruption, had worked against Argentina throughout the competition. CONMEBOL, South America's football confederation, banned him for 3 months over the comments. It was a side of Messi the public rarely saw, not the calm, quiet superstar, but a man who had spent over a decade absorbing national disappointment, finally showing visible cracks. Then came 2021, and the ending nobody saw coming. Barcelona, the only club Messi had ever known as a professional, was in serious financial trouble, weighed down by years of overspending. Messi's contract had expired, and after intense negotiations, he and the club reportedly reached a verbal agreement on a new deal. But Spanish football's strict salary cap rules meant Barcelona simply couldn't legally register the contract, even with Messi willing to take a significant pay cut. On August 5th, 2021, in a press conference at Camp Nou, Lionel Messi confirmed he was leaving the club he'd joined as a homesick 13-year-old 20 years earlier. Partway through, he broke down in tears, unable to speak for several seconds. It remains one of the most watched, most emotional press conferences in the sport's history. Days later, he signed with Paris Saint-Germain, joining a roster that already included Kylian Mbappé, the same player who'd ended Argentina's World Cup 2 years earlier, and Neymar, his former Barcelona teammate. On paper, it looked like the most star-studded attacking lineup ever assembled. In reality, Messi was stepping into a completely foreign environment for the first time in his adult life. No Camp Nou, no La Masia roots, no home advantage at 34 years old. By the end of 2021, it was fair to ask whether Lionel Messi's story was entering its final, quieter chapters. A tax conviction behind him, 2 more painful tournament exits with Argentina, and now, for the first time since he was a teenager, playing professional football somewhere other than Barcelona. Most great athletes' stories start winding down around this point. Messi's was about to do the exact opposite. What happened next, in Argentina blue, on the very biggest stage the sport has to offer, is the reason this whole series exists. That's Part 5, the finale. If you want to see how this story ends, subscribe. Part 5 is next.